It's special when you know that what he did, making himself vulnerable in that way, actually helped a lot of people.
JD Vance and Usha Vance's relationship has intrigued many, sparking curiosity and debate. Coming from vastly different backgrounds, their marriage raises questions about how they navigate their differences and what truly happens behind closed doors. What challenges have they faced? How have their unique experiences shaped their relationship? And most importantly, what has Vance himself revealed about their life together? The answers might surprise you. Join us as we take a closer look at their journey and uncover the truth that may not be what you expect. Hillbilly roots to rise in U.S. politics. When J.D. Vance says he came from nothing, he really means it. There are plenty of cliches that seemingly encapsulate how a child born in poverty can go on to become a vice presidential candidate by the age of 39. It's almost the perfect example of the American dream. Born into a chaotic, poverty-stricken household in southern Ohio, Vance's early life was full of hardships. His family struggled with addiction, violence, and instability. Vance's memoir Hillbilly Elegy detailed these struggles, painting a vivid picture of life in Appalachia, a region hit hard by industrial decline and poverty. In the book, Vance explores his family's chaotic history, including his mother's drug addiction, his grandmother's tough love, and the economic struggles that plagued his community. His life was marked by constant challenges, but it also set the stage for his remarkable rise in both business and politics. After Hillbilly Elegy was published, the book quickly became a bestseller, selling millions of copies and drawing attention from both conservatives and liberals alike. For many, it was a window into the struggles of working-class America. But Vance's relationship with the political world was still complicated. Despite the success of his book, he had initially distanced himself from Trump, even calling him an idiot and once comparing him to America's Hitler. These comments were a part of Vance's broader criticism of Trump's style, which he saw as divisive and troubling. However, over time, Vance's perspective on Trump evolved, and this shift would eventually play a significant role in his political career. As he entered the world of venture capitalism, Vance's profile continued to rise. He began appearing on political talk shows, offering his opinions on the state of America, politics, and the economy. He gained a reputation as a thoughtful, yet outspoken critic of the status quo. However, his political transformation truly began when he developed a close relationship with Donald Trump Jr., who was a fan of Hillbilly Elegy. This connection helped him to pivot in his views on Trump, and soon after, he became a vocal supporter of the former president. Vance's shift from a never-Trumper to a full-fledged Trump ally became more evident when he announced his candidacy for the U.S. Senate seat in Ohio. At this point, Vance had become more aligned with Trump's political agenda, focusing on the issues that mattered most to working-class Americans, such as economic inequality, job loss, and immigration. He played down the January 6 Capitol riots and worked to present himself as a loyal supporter of Trump's America First policies. His embrace of Trump's agenda helped him secure the former president's endorsement, which was critical in securing victory in Ohio's competitive Republican primary. Vance's campaign for Senate was marked by his rhetoric against the establishment, his focus on addressing the struggles of everyday Americans, and his opposition to the liberal policies that had become more prominent in American politics. His story resonated with voters who were disillusioned with the political elite and who were searching for a candidate who understood their struggles. Vance positioned himself as the voice of the working class, using his background to appeal to those who felt left behind by the changing political landscape. Vance's victory in the Senate race solidified his place in the upper echelons of U.S. politics. He had successfully navigated the complex world of American politics, transforming himself from a political outsider into a trusted figure within the Republican Party. His rise was not without its critics, however. Many question his authenticity, particularly because of his dramatic shift in political views. Critics also pointed out that Vance had distanced himself from his memoir and seemed to be downplaying some of his previous beliefs. Still, his political success cannot be denied. While his views have evolved over time, his ability to connect with working-class voters and his embrace of Donald Trump's political ideology have cemented his place in the Republican Party. As Vance continues to build his political career, it will be interesting to see how he navigates the challenges of his new role and whether he can continue to champion the causes that have made him a voice for the voiceless in America. J.D. Vance and Usha Chilukuri's story. J.D. Vance and Usha Chilukuri come from vastly different worlds. Vance, raised in a working-class Ohio town by his grandmother while his mother battled addiction, endured a tough, unstable childhood. Usha, by contrast, grew up in California in a family of high-achieving Indian immigrants, her father an IIT-trained mechanical engineer and her mother a marine biologist. Their paths crossed at Yale Law School, where they met and connected over a major writing project. Usha recalls, "We were friends first. I mean, who wouldn't want to be friends with JD?" But the friendship quickly deepened into something more. As Vance describes in Hillbilly Elegy, he was captivated, admitting, "I thought about her constantly." One friend described me as heartsick. Their bond culminated in marriage in 2014, blending their contrasting backgrounds into a partnership that now stands on the national stage, with Vance set to become the vice president-elect. Though they came from different backgrounds, Usha's support helped Vance adapt to the elite worlds he found himself navigating. As a meat and potatoes guy, Vance had to adjust not only to her vegetarian lifestyle but also to the social and cultural differences that came with their relationship. He learned to cook Indian dishes for her family and found grounding in her calm resilience, which guided him through moments of personal struggle. After one particularly frustrating job interview, Vance stormed out of a hotel room. Usha's response was firm yet patient, reminding him, it was never acceptable to run away. The daughter of Indian immigrants, Usha Chilukuri grew up in a suburb of San Diego. Her Indian heritage plays a significant role in her identity, and she has often spoken about the importance of balancing her cultural traditions with the values of American society. As an individual of Indian descent, Usha has always embraced both her cultural heritage and her American identity, finding strength in both worlds. Her faith is an essential part of who she is. Although Usha is not publicly outspoken about her religion, it is clear that her background in a Hindu family influences her moral compass and approach to life. Usha's path to success began with her academic achievements. She attended prestigious institutions and excelled in her studies. After completing her undergraduate degree, Usha went on to study law at Yale Law School, a renowned institution that also played a significant role in JD Vance's life. At Yale, Usha distinguished herself as a brilliant student, impressing her professors and peers with her work ethic and intellectual abilities. Her time at Yale was pivotal, setting the stage for her successful legal career. She didn't just rely on her academic skills but also developed a practical understanding of law and business, setting her apart from many others in her field. After law school, she worked at top-tier law firms, focusing on corporate law and other complex legal matters. Her professional expertise was in high demand, and she quickly gained recognition as a capable and diligent attorney. Usha's success didn't just come from her technical legal skills but also her ability to understand complex situations, offer practical solutions, and navigate the challenges that come with high-profile legal cases. In addition to her career in law, Usha also delved into business ventures, expanding her horizons beyond the legal world. She was involved in various business and corporate projects, where she applied her legal background and business acumen to drive success. Her ability to navigate the intersections of law and business set her up for future leadership roles and added to her reputation as a formidable force in her professional realm. JD Vance and his wife, Usha, are parents to 3 children, and though they generally keep their family life private, some details have surfaced over the years, shedding light on their growing family. The couple welcomed their first child, a son named Ewan, in June 2017. At the time of his birth, the media caught a glimpse of the proud parents through a photo shared by journalist Megyn Kelly, who congratulated them and wrote, "Congratulations, JD Vance and Usha. He's beautiful." Since then, very few details about Ewan have been shared, as the Vances prefer to keep their children out of the spotlight. In February 2020, their second son, Vivek, was born. Vance has occasionally mentioned Vivek in public, including a special moment in February 2024 when he celebrated his son's 4th birthday on the Senate floor. Reflecting on the day, Vance shared, "Vivek was 3 years old yesterday but turned 4 today." Though Vance couldn't be with his son for the family's birthday dinner, he made sure to express his love and affection, stating, "Daddy loves him very much." To mark the occasion, he read the beloved children's book Oh, the Places You'll Go aloud, a moment that lasted around 6 minutes, according to The Hill. In a sweet touch, he inserted his son's name into the final verse, creating a heartwarming tribute to his young boy. Vance and Usha's 3rd child, a daughter named Mirabelle, was born in December 2021. He shared the happy news in a now-deleted Instagram post, where he introduced Mirabelle to the world as our first girl. In the post, he added, "We were blessed with an early Christmas present this year. Everyone please meet Mirabelle Rose Vance, our first girl." Mama and baby are both doing great, and we're feeling very grateful this Christmas season. The Vances' excitement and gratitude were evident, marking a joyful chapter in their family's life. Throughout these milestones, the couple has been careful to protect their children's privacy. While they occasionally share glimpses of their life with their followers, they tend to keep their children away from the public's eye, focusing on their careers and personal achievements instead. This level of privacy is important to the Vances, who maintain a balance between their public roles and their family life. Many people across America are looking to JD Vance, hoping that he will bring about meaningful change. Will he live up to their expectations? JD Vance's vision and political commitments. JD Vance's vision for America revolves around the belief that the country has lost touch with its working-class roots and is being guided by a political elite that is out of sync with the needs of ordinary citizens. His political commitments reflect a determination to reinvigorate the nation's economy, address its social challenges, and restore the sense of unity that he feels has been lost. Throughout his campaign, Vance outlined a clear set of priorities designed to tackle the issues that matter most to everyday Americans. His rhetoric often centered on economic revitalization, national unity, and a commitment to traditional values. One of the central pillars of Vance's vision is economic revival. He strongly believes that the U.S. must focus on bringing jobs back to America and revitalizing the industries that have been outsourced in recent decades. Vance consistently emphasized the importance of restoring manufacturing jobs and reducing the nation's reliance on foreign countries. He repeatedly stated, "We have to bring our factories back, we have to make things in this country again, and we have to take care of the working-class Americans who have been forgotten." This quote speaks to Vance's deep concern for communities that have suffered economically due to factory closures and job losses, particularly in the Rust Belt states like Ohio. He believes that revitalizing these industries is key to improving the lives of millions of Americans and restoring the nation's economic health. In addition to economic revival, Vance has made addressing the opioid crisis a central focus of his political commitments. Growing up in a community devastated by addiction, he has a personal understanding of the profound impact the opioid epidemic has had on families across America. Throughout his campaign, Vance emphasized the need for a more comprehensive approach to combat the crisis, including better prevention, treatment, and recovery systems. As he put it, "The opioid crisis is destroying our families, and we need to do more than just throw money at the problem. We need to have a real plan to stop the flow of illegal drugs and help people recover." Vance's approach reflects a commitment to real solutions that go beyond temporary fixes and aim to heal communities in the long term. Another recurring theme in Vance's speeches is the growing cultural divide between the elites and working-class Americans. He consistently argued that the political and corporate elite, who have accumulated vast wealth and power, are out of touch with the struggles of the average citizen. In his own words, "There is a war on working people in this country, and it's not coming from the folks who work in the factories, it's coming from the elites who are out of touch with the struggles of everyday Americans." This quote captures the essence of Vance's political philosophy, which seeks to create a more equitable society by challenging the existing power structures and prioritizing the needs of regular people. A key part of Vance's message was his opposition to globalism and the policies that, in his view, have allowed foreign nations to take advantage of American workers. He believes that globalist policies have led to job losses and the hollowing out of American communities. He made his stance clear, saying, "Globalism has led to outsourcing, job losses, and a weakening of our nation. We need a government that puts the needs of Americans ahead of the demands of international elites." This quote highlights his commitment to putting America's interests first and ensuring that future policies are designed to benefit the nation as a whole rather than the global corporate elite. Vance's vision also includes a return to traditional family values, which he believes are the cornerstone of a stable society. He has often argued that the decline of the family unit has contributed to many of the social issues facing the nation, including poverty, crime, and poor educational outcomes. As he stated, "The breakdown of the family has been one of the most devastating factors in the decline of our communities. We need to rebuild families, strengthen marriages, and ensure that our children grow up in environments that give them the best chance at success." When it comes to foreign policy, Vance has expressed a desire to shift the U.S. away from its involvement in endless wars and foreign conflicts. He argues that the country has spent far too much time and money on military interventions abroad, while domestic issues have gone largely unaddressed. In his words, "We've spent too much money on endless wars overseas while our country is falling apart. It's time to bring our troops home, stop the endless wars, and focus on rebuilding America." This quote reflects his isolationist stance and his belief that the U.S. should focus its resources on fixing internal problems rather than engaging in foreign conflicts. Vance's commitment to change and reform also extends to his belief that Washington, D.C., is broken and needs fresh leadership. He has often positioned himself as an outsider, someone who is not part of the entrenched political class. As he put it, Washington is broken, and the people in power don't understand the struggles of the people they represent. We need fresh voices and new ideas to make real change happen. This quote speaks to Vance's desire to bring new ideas and perspectives to the political arena, rejecting the status quo and pushing for a government that is more responsive to the needs of its citizens. Lastly, education reform is a key component of Vance's political vision. He has consistently supported school choice, believing that parents should have the ability to choose the best educational options for their children, regardless of their income or where they live. He said, parents should have the right to choose the best education for their kids, whether it's public, private, or charter schools. We need to give parents the power to shape their children's futures. This quote highlights his commitment to giving families the tools they need to succeed and ensuring that every child has access to a quality education. The truth about Usha's relationship with JD Vance. Given the stark differences in the couple's backgrounds, some people have raised questions about the dynamics of Usha and JD Vance's relationship. Let's address these doubts and offer clarity on their bond. Critics have often speculated about how their differences might impact their relationship, particularly in the political sphere. However, the reality is quite different from public perception. Rather than being a source of tension, their differences have enriched their relationship. Usha's independent thinking and legal expertise complement JD's political vision. They do not always agree on everything, but their relationship thrives on healthy debates and discussions. One of the key differences between JD and Usha is their religious backgrounds. JD Vance is a devout Christian, having converted to Catholicism as an adult, while Usha comes from a Hindu family. In a society where religious differences can sometimes lead to conflict, the Vances have shown that coexistence is possible through mutual understanding. Their relationship demonstrates that love and respect for each other's beliefs can bridge the gap between two different faiths. While JD's Christian faith is a significant part of his identity, Usha has remained committed to her Hindu heritage, and they have raised their children in a way that embraces both backgrounds. Their approach reflects a modern, inclusive family dynamic where religion does not become a dividing factor but rather a foundation for discussion and learning. Usha has been an unwavering pillar of support in JD's life and career. A Yale-educated lawyer, she has achieved great professional success in her own right, but she has also played a crucial role in JD's journey from a Marine and author of Hillbilly Elegy to a political figure. Throughout his campaign, Usha stood by him, offering not only emotional support but also valuable insights. Her legal expertise and sharp intellect have undoubtedly helped JD navigate the complexities of public life. Despite their different career paths, they have always prioritized their family and supported each other's ambitions. In an interview with the New York Times, JD Vance spoke about the stability he found in his marriage to Usha. He reflected on how his own childhood was marked by instability and how he longed to create a different life for his own family. "I mean, look, I wanted to make money. I'm not saying I'm anti-making money," Vance said in an October interview with the New York Times. "But when I thought about what I really wanted out of my life, what Usha and I have right now. And I wanted to raise our kids in stability." He also recalled how difficult it was to constantly change addresses as a child. "I hated the fact that I had these different addresses. It was just something that really bothered me as a kid." This statement highlights how Usha has helped provide the stability JD longed for. Together, they have built a home where their children can grow up with a sense of security and belonging, something JD himself did not have in his early years. Beyond her role as a supportive wife, Usha has been instrumental in shaping JD's political perspectives. While he speaks passionately about issues like economic revival and American family values, Usha's influence can be seen in his measured and thoughtful approach. Her background in law and policy gives her a unique perspective, and JD values her input. Despite being a private person, she has appeared alongside him at major events and has been his sounding board for many important decisions. It is clear that JD does not make decisions in isolation. Usha's wisdom plays a key role in his thought process. Their story challenges the notion that contrasting backgrounds create division. Instead, it proves that love and respect can bridge even the widest gaps. In a world where political and cultural divides often dominate the conversation, their marriage stands as a reminder that unity and understanding are still possible. JD Vance's first interview as vice president. JD Vance and Usha are stepping into a new chapter of their lives as Vance takes office, and you'll be surprised by what he revealed in his first interview. In his first interview since taking office, Vice President JD Vance spoke with Face the Nation host Margaret Brennan about the new administration's early actions. He defended President Trump's executive orders, the pardoning of January 6 defendants, and the administration's strict immigration policies. He also addressed controversial cabinet appointments and explained how the administration hopes to lower prices for Americans. One of the most controversial topics in the interview was the confirmation of Pete Hegseth as Secretary of Defense. The Senate was evenly split, forcing Vance to cast the tie-breaking vote. Hegseth's nomination faced opposition due to allegations of alcohol abuse, sexual assault, and financial mismanagement. Vance defended Hegseth, calling him a disruptor and arguing that disruption is needed in the Pentagon. He criticized past defense secretaries, saying that despite their strong bipartisan support, the U.S. had not won a war in decades. Vance emphasized that Hegseth's main challenge would be fixing the Department of Defense, especially in areas like recruitment and weapons procurement. He pointed out the need for modernization in military technology, particularly in artificial intelligence and drone warfare. Trump's nomination of former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard as Director of National Intelligence has been controversial. Gabbard has no direct intelligence experience and has been criticized for her past statements on foreign policy. In 2017, she met with Syria's former leader, Bashar al-Assad, despite accusations that he used chemical weapons on civilians. Vance expressed confidence that Gabbard would be confirmed. He described her as a military veteran with high-level security clearance for nearly 2 decades. He argued that her distrust of government agencies is an asset because intelligence services need reform. When asked how she could rebuild public trust in intelligence agencies despite her past criticisms, Vance responded that she understands the need to control government bureaucrats. He insisted she would focus on the core mission of gathering intelligence to protect Americans. During the campaign, Trump and Vance promised to fight inflation and lower prices. When asked what specific actions the administration has taken, Vance highlighted executive orders that have encouraged job growth. Vance argued that capital investment would help lower prices. He pointed to Trump's executive order declaring a national energy emergency, arguing that increasing domestic energy production would lead to lower costs. He explained how high fuel costs impact food prices, using bacon as an example. If diesel fuel is expensive, transporting bacon becomes costly, which leads to higher grocery prices. By lowering energy costs, the administration hopes to make goods more affordable for consumers. However, Vance did not provide a timeline for when prices would start to drop. President Trump has expressed frustration with the Federal Emergency Management Agency, suggesting that it may need a major overhaul or even be eliminated. When asked how states like Mississippi and Alabama would recover from disasters without FEMA, Vance assured that the administration would not abandon disaster victims. Instead, he claimed the goal was to remove bureaucratic obstacles and deliver aid more effectively. However, he did not provide details on how this would be achieved. The new administration has taken a hard stance on immigration, including deploying troops to the southern border, halting asylum applications, and launching deportation flights. One of the most controversial actions was revoking a Biden-era policy that prevented immigration arrests near schools and churches. Critics argue that this could create fear among immigrant families. When asked whether this policy would discourage parents from sending their children to school, Vance responded, "I desperately hope it has a chilling effect on illegal immigrants coming into our country." The U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops condemned the immigration policies. Vance, a practicing Catholic, said he was heartbroken by their statement. He accused the organization of having financial motives, claiming they received over $100 million for helping to resettle immigrants. Trump recently signed an order attempting to end birthright citizenship, which is protected by the 14th Amendment. A federal judge blocked the order, calling it unconstitutional. Vance disagreed with the ruling, arguing that birthright citizenship should not apply to children of undocumented immigrants or tourists. He compared it to existing exceptions for children of diplomats. When reminded that the U.S. is a nation of immigrants, Vance acknowledged the country's immigrant roots but said that does not mean the U.S. should continue what he called the dumbest immigration policy in the world. However, birthright citizenship is not unique to the U.S., at least 30 other countries have similar policies. On his first day in office, Trump suspended the U.S. refugee admissions program, leaving thousands of Afghans stranded. Some had worked with the U.S. military before the withdrawal from Afghanistan. In August, Vance had said the U.S. should not abandon properly vetted allies. However, in this interview, he seemed to change his position. He argued that the refugee program has vetting problems and should not allow unvetted individuals into the country. As an example, he pointed to an Afghan national arrested in Oklahoma for planning an election day terrorist attack. However, this suspect did not enter through the refugee program but was paroled into the U.S. under a different immigration authority. Despite this, Vance insisted that the refugee program needed stricter screening. As promised during the campaign, Trump pardoned about 1,500 people convicted for their role in the January 6 Capitol riot. Some had committed acts of violence against law enforcement. When asked why violent offenders were included in the pardons, Vance said, "We're not saying that everybody did everything perfectly, but insisted that there were double standards in sentencing." However, federal judges have pushed back, stating that the convictions were supported by overwhelming evidence, including videos, photos, and defendants' own admissions. Despite a number of tech CEOs attending Trump's inauguration, Vance reiterated his belief that big tech has too much power. He stated that companies like Google should be broken up, following a Teddy Roosevelt approach to monopolies. He also criticized tech platforms for controlling what people are allowed to say. When asked about the presence of tech billionaires at Trump's inauguration, Vance joked that they didn't have as good of seating as my mom. However, he warned that big tech companies are very much on notice. What do you think? How do their differences shape JD Vance and Usha's bond? Do you believe their relationship will influence Vance's political decisions? Share your thoughts in the comments.